Hello and welcome to another tutorial. Today we will continue our journey to turn ourselves into an PS1 style character or any person we took a lot of pictures of. So last time we made the head based on our reference images, we textured the whole thing and we kept the geometry very simple, as you can see. Exactly. So now we can basically continue, and to make the body, we can start the project inside our last project with the head, or if we want, we can start from scratch in a new Blender project, and we can just export the head. And I think if you're doing a lot of characters, it's very handy to have a library of NPC heads. So I will export the head anyway. And I think for this tutorial, I will start from scratch so you can see how the workflow would be for a body from zero. But if you want to continue the project inside the head project, very simple, click up here, new collection, and name this collection body. And just hide the head and start from scratch. And you can replace this reference images with the body reference images. Yeah, and but now we will export the head because I wanna make a personal library of NPCs. So I will definitely sooner or later reuse this this head. So to export it, very important, we have to, because we want to translate and transfer the material and our texture. To do that, we have to, let's select the head and go into the shading tab. And down here into the material properties, currently I have an emission material, which is basically an unlit material. This won't export, so we have to replace the emission with a principled BSDF. I don't know how to pronounce it, I'm sorry. And plug that stuff in, like I do. Decrease the specular, increase the roughness, and this should translate perfectly while exporting the head. So let's switch back to layout and select again the head, hit file, export FBX, or you can also take any other file format, but I like to work with FBX because I use Unreal Engine. And the translation from scaling and stuff with FBX works very well for me. So I use FBX. Yeah, ignore that. Let's name the head. So PS1 head flow, because it's flow, he's a person. And down here geometry, normals to face. And armature, you can basically ignore that, it's not that important. And bake animations, we don't have animations, so untoggle that. So if we now hit export FBX, we should have our head as a separate FBX file, and we can reuse the head over and over and over again. So I will start from scratch with the body and the setup of the reference images. But if you continue inside this project, you can basically just switch the collection and hide the head collection if you want. So I will start from scratch now. New, general. And yeah, why not I save? So here we are in a fresh scene. And you know what? Let's delete the default cube for now and make a new collection. And I call it body, and I also make a collection for the head. So if you don't have a head and you start fresh with the body, that's also fine. But if you already have a head, or you come from the previous tutorial, you can import it, or like I just said, you just work onto the previous project. So I will import my head. So import FBX, search for the folder, here's the head, and import. So now I actually don't see the texture. Where's the texture? But I see already this moving is going on. It is activated, so perfect. And we have to switch here to material preview mode to see the texture. Okay, that's kind of fucked up because we have to switch some things around. By default, if you use an PNG file with transparency, with the possibility of transparency, this will look this weird. So you have to go select the head, go into the material properties, and down here, settings, alpha blend to opaque. So you can see the weirdness is gone. And now we can here also base color. Here's our texture and switch it to closest. Perfect. Now we have the head exported into our new project. So much to that. And basically this part you could skip it if you just continue with the same project file. But I think it's important for if you want to switch around heads or outfits or bodies between characters. Okay. So we will use the head later on for reference, so we get the scaling of the body right and stuff like that. But for now, let's hide it. Okay, and in our base collection, the first collection, we will now set up our reference images. So hit empty image, and let's rotate it upwards, and let's call it ref1, reference number 1. Let's go in here, object data properties, and open. And now we select our reference image with the front view of our body. So let's turn that. And wait, so you can activate the shortcut thing so you can see what I'm pressing. Hit S and let's scale it up a bit. Okay, and yet let's talk about the reference images for a moment. So, like I said last time, the best case scenario would be a picture reference from all the perspectives. For the body, the most important one is the front view. Try to be as straight as possible with your picture. And the second important reference image is actually the side view, because you get a feeling and understanding of the overall body shape. The least important one is the back. But if you have all three of those, so front, back, and side view, it's the best case scenario. And also a little hint, as you can see, I said to him, please turn one hand towards the camera and one with the side view. So I have a reference from every angle of the hands too, which will come in handy later on while texturing. And here's the same one. I have a reference of the front and here of the side view with the thumb. Okay, so as a reference, we can use the measurement. We can just drag out and see how tall he would be, and or you can take a mesh and use the default cube as a reference point. I like to work with the red line here as a floor, So let's drag it up. By default, the default cube is 2 meters times 2 meters times 2 meters. So let's pull it up exactly 1 meter on the z-axis, which is the blue line. So now it's sitting on the floor, perfect, but the pivot point, so the center of our cube, I want it here in the selection thing here. So right click, select it, just the cube, set origin to 3D cursor. Now it's sitting on the floor, and if we S and drag, it will scale up based on the floor. Okay, so this square thing is 1 meter tall. So I know from Flow he is not 2 meters tall, which is a bit more than 6 feet, I think. But for this tutorial, we just say he's 2 meters tall. We can scale him down a bit anyway later on. So for adjusting the reference image to get the scale right at the start, let's use the wireframe, dragging up a bit, hit S and dragging a bit inwards. So his heels, actually his heels are lining up with the floor. Get him up a bit more. And I think basically we could work off that that's actually not that untrue to his scale, to his body scale. Let's go with that. Okay. So for now, let's hide the cube. It was just for reference. Let's Shift D, left click, so we get a second reference image. Let's call it Ref2. And let's scale it on the z-axis by 90 degrees. And let's use the side view. Where is it? I will go with this one for now. Why not? Let's also check if the front foot, the heel is lining up with the floor, which currently is the y-axis. Drag him a bit up. We should work with this setup. So here we have a clear lining up with the ears and stuff, here with the clothes, but currently I'm trying to focus on the clothes and the pants because we will focus on the body itself. Let's drag it out on the x-axis and this on the y-axis, the green one. So now we have a basic setup with the references. And yeah, now we can attack actually modeling our bad boy. So let's click on body and insert a cube. Or we have already a cube, we can also use that one. And change into material property, preview. And yeah, now we have our basic setup for modeling the actual body. Let's give it a save. Let's take the cube, drag it in the area of the chest and switch into the edit mode by clicking tab. And also toggle X-ray so we can see through to our reference. Cut the loop in the middle, face selection, select 1/2 of the whole thing, and delete faces. Okay, now modifier properties and mirror modifier and clipping on. Perfect. Now if we hit A, we can scale it. And I always like to start from the chest area down. So let's do that. Let's adjust the cube so the chest area is covered. And for the start, I start with simple blocking out. the main silhouette of the character. And for the torso, I have three main lines: the chest line, the abs line, and the belt line. Basically, the three lines of the torso, which are very important for movement and also very important for the silhouette of the character. So I think we can. Oh, we can also. Yeah, I think we can already start, and let's switch into the vertex selection and drag across the bottom, pull it up to the chest, to the height of the chest area. For now, let's ignore that area up here and hit E to extrude it down where the belly button would be, and extrude it one more time to the height of the belt, and one more time, and now we get our hip area if we drag that up. So current state should look like this. And I mean, basically we can already define the overall shape of the character if we want, or we can just continue extracting and stuff. So let's think a very important step would be loop cut, and we need another cut here in the middle section. And let's take this one here, drag it a bit more inwards to the crotch area, and I think it's already easier if we yeah, let's take the shoulders also. Take this part, drag it down. Can also take those parts, and I mean, he has a very wide neck, but not that wide. Okay, and also here can pull that a bit in to give the body more a V shape, so it looks more organic. You can drag that a bit down to give the chest area more chest-like feeling. Okay, as you can see, that's a very basic setup, and the torso has this. That's basically the maximum of geometry we want to have. So if we go back into the object mode by activating tab, we see we are currently just the torso has 96 tris, and that's very good. I think in the end we will end up with around 500 to 700 tris, so that makes sense. Okay, so the front view of the torso is done, and I would say let's continue with the front view. I like, I know the PS1 is very known for segmented limbs and stuff, but I like to go the Metal Gear route, basically, which had a separate head, torso, and legs were one piece, and the arms were separate limbs. So, but I think it was Silent Hill. There were much more segmented the body parts. But I will go the Metal Gear route. So select those, not the middle point, and hit E. And let's drag it out. And for this, let's rotate it and try to make it more straight, like this. And let's just drag it out until the end of the pants. And now we can adjust some areas. Here in the crotch, it's a bit more down, a bit more lower because of the pants. Also here we can basically orientate along the silhouette, and also we need to add here some geometry. Let's do that. We need to here or under and above the knee, and let's drag them a bit in. Okay, and that should be that's already pretty good. And now we can just we adjust what we already have to make it more organic looking. We want to get rid of all the blockiness. For that we need now the side view. So the front view is for now done, and now let's switch to the side view. Hit here, I hit the X, or you just rotate if you want. So, and now let's narrow it down. Let's take this front part, pull it here to the collarbone. So this a bit more on shoulder height. And I know the clothes are here are more flattery. I don't know how to say that. I want the torso a bit more shaped, so I'm going here a bit more in the negative space. So also let's drag that a bit more in. Yeah, and just try to narrow down the overall silhouette. Yeah, and that's basically the overall workflow. Try to nail the silhouette, front, side, and side view. And you have basically you finished the majority of the whole modeling process. So as you can see, it's very blocky and a bit white, but now we have the side view done. Let's go here a bit more in, and also with the belly. Here also a bit more in this in the negative space, and here, and also the side view, the front view. As you can see, that's pretty good. So I mean, basically you got very far with the bare minimum, but we can adjust this basic geometry even more and make it even more organic looking by adjusting those side vertex points. So let's do that. So front view, side view done, and let's start here with those points, and let's drag them a bit inwards. And I would start here with the midpoint, the belly point. Drag it in. Now the hips. No, here on the thighs, and for now we should take the legs a bit later, but I think we can drag this line underneath the belt. It will look a bit more. Will look more sensical, it will make more sense. So let's drag that in. As you can see, it's already getting a bit more organic looking, more rounded. So drag those parts in. So and here the back part of the crotch area, the ass part, we can drag that a bit up like this and drag it a bit out. And also this part, we can drag it a bit to the side to make it wider. Like this. Okay, and now we can bring the chest area a bit more up. Let's select the front. Drag it a bit more up. Like this. It's basically a little game I call Find the Nipple. So okay, and what's also still looking kind of weird is this area here. This part, this should be a bit more, just like the crotch area. We need this angle, like this. We can drag that. Can basically drag that a bit out. Can drag that a bit out. Okay, looking good. Looking good so far. Yeah, and as you can see, just by adjusting the side parts, we get it way more organic looking. So that made a huge difference. But I think this part here looks kind of weird. Okay, let's adjust the back area and then we can go again and check in on all the lines. So I like to start with the S area. I like to have it more straight. This is more on the V-shaped area, a V-shaped position, and this would adjust this more straight. A bit more like that. Maybe drag that a bit out. And maybe let's hide something more like this. Makes sense. Let's take this area of the back, drag it down, pull it a bit more out, so we can drag that also a bit more down, something like this. And let's bring those all the way up, because we need those parts for the shoulder. Yeah, something like this. What we can do is we grab those parts here, select both, and let's hit S, bring them together like this. Yeah, as you can see, adjusting the back area redefined a lot of the silhouette, especially the side view. I'm still not happy with the ass. Maybe we can, no. Yeah, let's drag that a bit out. And also more on the straight. Okay, something like this. Nice. So we adjusted the front part of the torso, the side part of the torso, and now the back. And this looks... I want more of an angle here on the back, so I drag that a bit more out, that a bit more in, something like this. Wait, untoggle the X-ray so you can check out the geometry. Currently the character is looking like this on the front, this on the side, and this on the back view. Pretty easy so far. So, and a lot of the silhouette comes from his broad, a lot of the body shape still comes with the arms, and we attacked that next after we adjusted some small points here in the leg area. So let's do that. Toggle X-ray. let's bring this part here, the calves, bring that a bit more out, those parts a bit more in. Also here, this one a bit more back, and this one a bit more, I would say this one a bit more in. Okay, and now give it a look. As you can see, the body looks a bit more organic. Pretty good so far. And we're currently at, wait, toggle, take wireframe and toggle statistics. We have currently 134 tris. This is pretty good for an torso. Now we can start creating the arms and the feet, and then basically we are done with the whole body. So but at first let's name it torso, and also let's make a backup collection. Click here, collection new, call it backup. Perfect. And let's, in the object mode, select the bad boy, hit Shift D, left click, and let's drag it in the backup, and let's hide the backup. Okay, let's continue. Select the body collection, and Shift A, cube. Like to work with the front view, drag it down, and let's change into the edit mode. Let's hit tab and G, drag it out, and here under the modifier properties, mirror modifier. Now we have two parts. Okay. Let's get our preview, our reference back. Drag it to the point. You want the shoulder to start. Also check in with the side view. Something like this. Yeah, nice, good. And yeah, and basically now let's start and detect the arms. I think we can hide the torso for now. So hit E, drag it out, hit S, scale it down. Loop cut over the elbow, under the elbow. Take this point, drag it more in. Oh, or you know what? Select the whole thing, rotate it up. Now it's important that you don't have clipping activated, or this will merge in the center. So let's give him already a T-pose. Let's check in with the torso if that makes sense. Yeah, it does. Hide the torso again. This. Something like this. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Now let's hit R and hold Control. I rotated it by 35 degrees. Now we can create a more organic looking arm, as you can see. So, and to manage that, we need to make an cut for the shoulder, because I want to start with the shoulder area. Let's select here the knife, click in mid-air, click on the first point, connect it to the other point, and now hit enter, and you made a cut. Hide the torso. So, because we made this cut, we didn't increase the number of tris because it was a square. So we just separated the square in half and created there were already 2 tris, so but it will help us a lot. Now by creating the shoulders. So drag that in, select the bottom part, drag that even more in. And select the outer points and hit S to drag those in. Now it looks like a chicken wing thing. Okay, and let's hit A again. Rotate it upwards so we can adjust the arm a bit more. Let's activate X-ray. And let's redefine the shape of the arm. Drag this a bit more up. Drag this down. Drag this up. So let's drag that more in. Drag that more out. Something like this. So in. And again, try to catch the silhouette of the arm. Yeah, looks pretty good so far. Now here we have to adjust the shoulder a bit. Bring that more in. Bring that more in. And here we want a little angle. And here the same, we want a little angle and drag this a bit up. We want to flatten the down part. Something like this. Now let's give it a look with the torso. Makes sense, makes sense. Maybe we have to make it more wider so to look a bit more muscular. And that's why I ask him to pose with this arm, top view and front view. So now I can just adjust it here based on this. Edit mode. Let's select the whole area, drag it a bit back, I would say. let's take those parts and drag those a bit more in to give the shoulders more space. Okay, and we really need to increase the size of the arms. On the front it already looks pretty good. Hit A and S like this. And I think the front view looks pretty good, but the side view, we have to adjust the side view. Let's check the back. Perfect. Nice. So basically we adjusted, we cut away the part of the torso here. So we give the shoulders more space on the whole body. And nice. Okay, let's do the feet. So for that, I mean, we can basically just take this plane here and hit Shift D, hit S, scale it down like this. Now we have just a plane. Drag it up, wait, activate the X-ray, and let's hit E to extrude the whole thing. Okay, hide the reference. Okay. So now we have this block like this. I know it's in an angle, but for now let's keep it straight. We can pull that a bit more out. And okay, now let's take the cut loop, make a cut here, switch back to the selection, select this front part, hit E to extrude, extrude it out, take those on the top, pull it down, just like that. And we can take those two, pull it a bit more to front. Now we want the feet a bit more wider. I click here, the blue, so it will stay on the floor, just like that. This here we can give it a bit of a dip, make it wider, and those two, drag that out to the back. Perfect. We just made feet. And yeah, maybe let's make it a bit more wider, longer. Drag it a bit more out. And I think the heel and everything makes sense. But let's drag this a bit up, this a bit more in. Something like this. So now we made with the bare minimum feet. And basically the same workflow would apply for shoes. And if you want some movement on the toes and some bending here in the feet area, basically you just have to cut a loop here in the middle, and that way you can later on while doing animation move the toes, get some bending. Yeah, let's do that. Why not? Because that way we can also make the feet, give the feet a bit more often shape. We can, the top part here, we can make smaller, just like that. And we can bring those two a bit more in. Yeah, and if the same thing would apply for shoes, and that way we have some movement on the top area. Yeah, but this cut here, this loop I made, is not necessary. So if you don't need it, you don't have to place it here. Also, I mean, it's not in the reference, but we could save some geometry if we pull the pants. If we pull the pants just down like that, we could delete the whole area up here. So, I mean, why not? Let's do that. We would save some geometry. Give it a bit more of an angle. Pull that area a bit. Narrow it a bit more down. Also for animation, that would make more sense because we don't have some weird warping here on the angle area. So let's select those parts. And let's hit delete faces. Yeah, as you can see, it's not necessary. So tight, nice, pretty cool. Let's give it a save, and again make a backup. Shift D, left click, and drag it into the backup folder, because we made huge progress. Yeah, let's attack the hands. Select the arms. And also I think we can already position them in more a T-pose kind of situation. So let's change into the edit mode. Hit A to select everything. Hit A and R, rotate it. Oh yeah, I also want to show you how to, wait. Okay, As I said, we have here this of the shirt, and here's the normal arm, and yeah, basically you can just texture here this down part here, just arm, and this area up here, shoulder, and the biceps area you texture just with the shirt. But what you can also do to in low poly, you always have to keep in mind the silhouette, and if something changes the silhouette, it can improve the character model. So I mean, that's a personal preference now. Just leave it like that if it's too complicated or it's not necessary. But I will now adjust the arms to the shirt. So let's hit tab, edit mode, change into the vertex selection, alt left click, so I get this loop. Okay, now I hit V to, as you can see, I broke the connection, and let's hit S, scale it a bit down, drag it a bit up, maybe a bit more, like that. Now select the next loop, alt left click, again alt left click, like this, and let's hit S again, but scale it up. This outer point, scale it a bit out, scale that bit a bit, no, the back area a bit out. And we can scale that down. So we hide a bit the transition because that's now empty, but we will leave it open. So now we didn't add any kind of geometry, some extra geometry, but we still achieved the same look with from the reference of the shirt. Let's select everything, hit A, rotate it so we bring him into a T pose. Later on for rigging that would be necessary. Anyways, so for the hand it's basically the same workflow like with the feet. Let's select the arm. Select all the vertices here, or the whole face, however you like. And let's hit Shift D, drag it a bit out. And now, yeah, our hands are a bit difficult. Also for drawing and stuff. So let's go to the, what would be best? Yeah, maybe the top view. So hit E, like this, draw it out, and something like this, increase the scale a bit. Now this down part here, we have to drag it up because we want to flatten the whole situation. Something like this. Now I would also make this cut like we did with the shoulder. Knife. And enter. Check if we just created one vertex here, as you can see here. And I think I messed it up here. As you can see, I created 3 vertices. So let's hit M, center, perfect. Drag it a bit out. So for the hand, let's take the loop cut, make one here after 1/3 of the hand, and one again here in the middle. Perfect. take the down part here, put it a bit up, put this a bit something like this. Can also bring that a bit out. Something like this. Select the whole middle section. Yeah. And from below, select this here, drag it a bit for more frontal. Select all the vertices. Oh wait, we can also drag that a bit more down. Okay. Now, let's create one finger. Let's hit E, S, and E, and S. Now it should look like this. Okay. Let's drag this a bit more in the middle. Something like this. So it got more a square feeling to it. Yeah, that looks pretty hand-like, but I think they are way too small. Wait, let's duplicate the reference. Yeah, they're way too small. Let's select that, edit mode, and now left click on a vertex and hit L. Now you select just the separate limb. Yeah, that's a bit more fitting. Okay. Okay, and let's select the okay. Drag those parts a bit more into the hand. Yeah, and as you can see, we should also make this cut we made with the hand here on the thumb. But I mean, basically we can also just merge those vertices together. M, center, or wait, maybe that makes more sense. Yeah, that's the bare minimum. If you wanna have more control and more movement with the hand and more for animation or something, you could just drag that up here and insert another loop here. Scale it a bit up. Yeah, like this. That way you would have more space to articulate the hand area. And you could bring that a bit up. Wait, I think this looks a bit more sensical. Yeah, maybe the thumb is a bit too short. I don't know. Something like this. Okay, wait, So this is how I make my hands. And yeah, now we can hit A, rotate. Let's give it a look without the T-pose. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Wait, I had the reference. Yeah, and also from the sizing and everything. That makes sense. Okay, I think we are done with modeling. Let's make a backup of the hands. Backup, create a save. Yeah, so far so good. We modeled basically everything of the body. Now next step is UV unwrapping the whole thing, and then we will take the reference images for texturing. Modeling done. Perfetto. Let's UV unwrap this bad boy. Okay, so I think by now, if you're happy with the result of your modeling, you can continue with the UV unwrapping. I have here the arms and the torso separate, but for unwrapping I will join them. So just Alt Shift left click them or just drag across in the object mode and then hit Control J, and now we joined our situation here. So I will already call it body. I love to keep it organized and stuff, so I'm already renaming it. And also I Shift D left click and copy and pull it into the backup folder. Okay, good. To actually UV unwrap the whole situation, we need to create a texture material properties, new, let's call it PS1 body flow, and specular down, roughness up, and let's hit the yellow dot here, the yellow dot, and select image texture. Now let's create an image texture. Let's hit new and let's name it just like the material, why not? Body flow. Yeah, and sometimes I like to create a 1K texture first and reduce it later on to get the pixelation, because sometimes I like to save the high-res version. But I would say today we are not doing that. We are straight up working into the final texture. So let's change that to 256 times 256 pixel. The base color is black, why not? We won't need any alpha, so we could technically uncheck this and let's hit OK. So we created a texture, and let's switch into the UV editing tab here, and let's zoom in. Okay, and also you can very fast zoom in into something. Let's, for example, I select here some point, and if you hit the period, you zoom into the thing. So if I hit A and select everything and hit period on the numpad, the viewport would center on this. So yeah, like that. So I'm here, I already have my texture selected. If you don't see your texture and the name is not popping up here, you can always search for it here in the image browser. So, and to go save with the whole situation, hit image, save as, and save it into your texture folder of the project. Look at his face. So, and also I like to include the resolution, so 256 px pixel. Okay, hit save. Now we have this situation. Yeah, and now if we select everything by hitting A, as you can see, it's just blocks, and we wanna unwrap the body and everything, so we are able to spread it out with no empty spaces and stuff. Last time I explained a very lazy way to UV unwrap your characters. So with face selection, right click, and UV faces and cube projection. And then I said you should just drag your stuff across the texture like that. That's very lazy, very fast, but if you have a deadline, why not? Okay. But today I want to go in depth with the whole situation, in depth. You know, deep into the thing. So, okay. So we selected our bad boy. We are inside the editor, and I think face selection is already good to go. And we can, for example, let's left click on this face of the shoulder, and now hit L. Hover above it. Also here, hover above it, hit L. Hover above it, hit L. So I selected the whole arm, all the separate limbs and stuff, and the first thing we want to unwrap is the torso and the legs. So also the feet will come later, so also hover with the thing above it, hit L. That's very forward. It's a good technique to get things done. You should know that as a low poly modeling artist. So I repeat, click on the part you wanna select. I click on it, and now I hover above it. As you can see, hover above it, hit L, and I select the separate element. Here the same thing, I don't click, I just hit L, just hit L, just hit L, and now I selected just the parts I need, or the parts I don't need, and now I hit H. H means hiding. I hide the things. Now I can mainly focus on the torso part, the main part. If I want to unhide stuff, I have to hit Alt H. And now it's back. And if I hit, so for example this, again left click, L, 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 H. Nice. So now it could make the whole process a bit easier if we switch to an UV grid. I will provide a download link below. Let's open. We already saved our texture image. We will come back to that later when we start texturing, but for now, for UV unwrapping, we will use an UV grid. So I will open up my UV grid. Where is it? Perfect. And also I already scaled it into the right size. Here it's already 256. And yeah, now it's important that we switch up here. I use the middle mouse click. And here, viewport material preview. As you can see, the top part here is, yeah, it's fine, but the down part looks like a melon. So now we have to place some cuts to open up the whole thing. So for that we need to change into the edge selection, and now we click and place our seams to unfold the whole thing. So for unwrapping, I'm in the edge selection, and I think a good way to unwrap and to texture the whole thing would be to cut off the leg. So let's place here a cut, and shift left click, shift left click, shift left click, and also here on the butt. And the middle line is basically here because we mirrored the whole thing. So right click and mark seam. Nice. But the leg is a whole tube, so we need one cut, and I would place the cut on the back because some texture errors wouldn't be that noticeable. Hit right click, mark seam, and now we need to find a way to cut up the torso. For now I will just place here a cut. Why not? Just give it a look. Let's select everything, switch into the face selection, right click, and UV unwrap. Looks already pretty good, I would say. And but now it's very organic. very floaty. This is not a bad thing, but I like to go more the Japanese route and to square everything up. But that's in personal preference. Basically, you can unwrap all the parts and all the body parts just like this, and just scale it by hitting S and G and R to rotate and place it across the texture, and try to avoid empty spacing. So yeah, this would be one route, but I like the Japanese version with the squaring up, but I will show you that in a second. Oh, also let's change linear here to closest, like this. Yeah, and now I will start squaring up my body parts, and I will start here with the torso, with the upper body, and for that I will go into the vertex selection, and I will just select all those points, this middle line here, right click and auto align. As you can see, the lining up of the texture with the opposite side is way more clear. There's a better transition between the texture parts. So G, let's try to even out the part down here. Right click, auto align. And let's come back to this line. And let's do the same thing for the back. Right click, auto align. Okay. And now basically I can go in and do the same thing for the middle parts here. I noticed basically you have to decide to this wavy situation, keep it in length horizontal or vertical. You should keep some of that wave vertex situation. But yeah, I don't know. It's just my approach. So auto align. And I'm just trying to square up and to straighten out the texture. The squaring up of the texture gives me the opportunity to avoid even more of those empty spacing areas. I mean, I think I could also do the same thing here, but I think that would be unnecessary. So squaring up sides like this, that way you can avoid a lot of empty spacing on your texture. And back in the day, texture space was very valuable, so that's a thing. And let's do the same situation for the leg. So now the texturing looks a bit more professional. Down here we got some warping, but that's a very unimportant part for the whole texture. maybe I'm even deleting this face later on, I don't know. Yeah, I think I really will delete this face. Let's select it. Okay. Yeah. But this part here is very important, is the crotch area. Okay, and also let's line up those lines. So we squared it up pretty nice, and I saw a lot of Japanese artists doing their texture work like this, and I really got into it and I really like it. It's a very interesting approach. And yeah, and I will now do exactly the same thing for all the other texture parts, but for now I will just A to select here everything, drag it out, and now I will Alt H, unhide the other parts, and L and hit H. Now we'll focus on all the other parts and unwrap them the same way. Now why not? Let's place our seams. And I would again place a seam on the back. Mark seam. Now let's hide the hand. Mark seam. Mark seam. And I think that could totally work. Let's also hide the feet. Why not? Let's do them later. Oh no, why not? We can do them now. Numpad period. And let's select this inner line. And this back part here. Mark seam. Let's hit A and change into the face selection, right click, UV unwrap. Oh, that turned out pretty nice. Yeah, and let's also let's square those up. Why not? Why not? Let's square those up. Nice. Let's square up that boy. So I want to drag it up. Yeah, so far so good, nice. Let's unhide that. And let's hide everything except the hand. With our left click, as you can see, we selected everything, hit A. Let's go back and hit H. Just select the hand and period on the numpad. That's still a bit messed up. Let's mark our seams and then square everything up, and then we are ready to proceed texturing. Now, clearly we can place here an seam. Mark seam. Also here along. Mark seam. Let's cut out the finger just like a glove. I think that could work out. Let's give it a try. Hit A to select everything, change into the face mode. Right click, UV, unwrap. Oh, not bad. That can work. And oh, I noticed something. I think we don't need the seam here on the back. Yeah, right click, clear seam, hit A again, face selection, right click, UV, unwrap, faces. Yeah, now it's one thing and only the fingertip here is separate. That's a good thing. Okay, now let's line it up, mark our vertices, auto align. And let's square it up, auto align. Just the fingertip. Let's rotate it and put it somewhere here so we have everything together. And let's drag that out. Okay, I squared everything up. UV unwrap the whole situation. Alt H, hit A to select everything. And now we can arrange our body parts on this texture square. And we will try to avoid as much as possible empty spacing. And due to the square technique of the Japanese, we can avoid a lot of empty spacing. So let's do that. I'm still learning this technique, but so far I understand the principles and the logic behind it. And yeah. And on the texture space, if the head is also included in the same texture, in our case we have a separate texture, which I personally like. But the head would always have at least 1/4 of the whole texture. And in this case, at least half of the texture would be the main parts of the body. So the torso would be at least 1/4, and the leg would be at least 1/4 of the whole texture. And the other parts we have to place them on the other half of the texture. So let's do that. Select both. And let's scale them. Wait, we can here switch to island selection. So if we click, we always selecting the whole thing at once. So let's scale it up. And we can go really tight in the texture because we already are inside our final texture size. If we would try to downscale it afterwards, the spacing between the textures would create some errors or problems. But yeah, maybe let's lay it flat down. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, and we basically UV unwrapped the whole thing, and we squared it up, and we avoided a lot of empty spacing on the texture. So it's way more professional and forward to, for example, the thing I explained to you last time with the head tutorial. So let's switch the pixel grid back to the original texture. Browse image. PS1 flow. Like this. Nice. Give the project a save. And again, we can now select the whole thing and Shift D left click, making a new backup. And now we can proceed into texturing. We UV unwrapped our situation. Now we can continue with texture painting. For that, let's go again into the UV editing tab. Very important, if you're here in the object mode, you need to be in the edit mode. And now if you, by hitting A, for example, select everything and you go into the texture painting, as you can see, you see the outlining of your texture islands. If you deselect it and you go, you have just an empty space. So we will take advantage of that by selecting with the technique with the L, selecting and going into the texture. As you can see, we can only edit this part, which gives us a huge advantage to that way we can avoid painting over other areas we already textured. So for example, as you can see, now it's only this part selected. If we hit up here, paint mask. But if we untoggle that, we can paint over everything. So I would say, why not? At first, let's texture everything at once. Let's do some base coding, kind of. And let's go into the texture paint tab, go into material preview mode. And we also should activate the wireframe. Here, geometry, wireframe, okay. Now, let's make a stencil based off our reference image. We have to be inside the draw tool. The white needs to be pure white, and the visibility, the V needs to be up in the pure white, and the strength also needs to be on 1. So let's go up down here, texture properties, hit new, and let's open our front view. We should here in the browser, we have it here as the first image. But we could also just open image and search it based on a folder. Let's go up here, active tool, workspaces. We need to go into texture and change tile into stencil. And now he is this little square boy. Control right click hold is for rotating stuff. It looks like that meme thing. Okay. Yeah. Now reset transform to set it back. And image aspect. Now it's stretched out. So control right is for rotating. Shift right is for scaling. And just right click is for dragging across. So let's scale it up. Something like this. And also what we have to keep in mind is we have with a mirroring situation, because we made only one side of the torso. As you can see, if you don't want the texture to be mirrored, you need to unwrap the whole torso at once. So, but for now, to get some base, just want a texture base, but more or less. Just paint roughly over the whole situation like this. As you can see, that's already a lot of, we already achieved a lot with this simple effort, and now we can go into the detail and refine all the single parts. But let's also do the back view. Let's go down here, texture properties, hit open image. Let's take the back. Okay. Let's go up here, scale it down, shift right. Just straight up paint over it. That way we have a base. Pretty nice so far. And like I said, if you don't want repetition or mirroring on the texturing, you should unwrap both sides. But it makes it more easier if you just have to paint one side. And yeah. So, okay. I think we can give the base code a save, image, save. You see here the star is gone, the project, give it a save. And now we can go into the detail, into every individual piece and texture it piece by piece. And yeah, that's basically now the workflow with the stencil and our reference images of our person or of ourself. So now it's a back and forth UV editing. Now for example, I will start with the arms. I hide the torso. And also I think I hide the hand for now. Hit. Or you know what? There's a bit. Okay. Let's just attack that one. Hit L to select that part. And now for texturing, I wanna here on modify properties, let's hit that button here. It will hide the mirrored version because we will focus on this part. Let's texture that one. And if we toggle now paint mask, it will only show us that part here we hit everything except this part. Now we hit A to select it. As you can see here, it's selected. Let's go into the texture paint, and with the paint mask, it will only show that part. Let's hide the other reference image. Yeah, I will now use the back of his shirt to texture that in. Yeah, good enough. Why not? As you can see, it's filled out, and it's a pattern, and it's a very forgiving pattern, as you can see. So let's give it a save, and basically that one body part is done. Let's hit Alt H. Let's hide those parts. Let's attack the torso. H and A. And I think here it would be necessary to have the whole body. So untoggle that display modifier in viewport, so we see the mirrored body again. Let's exactly hit A to select those parts, as you can see here, and go into texture painting. So now let's I think I'm kind of already happy with the current result. Maybe we should switch to the side view. Okay, and the inside modify properties, hide the other side. And let's paint the inside. Oh, to mirror our texture here, we have to go here into Active Tools, down to Texture again, and I think it's offset on the y-axis -1. No, it's not. Oh, here, -y on size. Exactly. Now let's just paint over it. Noise. Yeah, the good thing about the PS1 style is it's such a forgiving style, as you can see. Let's switch back to the front view. No, to the back view, I think. With the back view we had the most texture area. And now we can decrease the strength a bit. Oh no, that looks way too messy. Let's keep it up at 1. Yeah, and if you get too close to the middle line, you will get some artifacts. So you can avoid that by untoggle the mirror, for example, the mirroring. Yeah, and like I said, if you don't want the mirroring, you really need to unwrap the whole torso at once without the mirroring. But I think I will go with that now, because it makes it easier. Yeah, I think we are good to go. Later on we will redefine certain areas, repaint some edges with the drawing tool without the stencil to resharpen some elements. But for now, I think that's pretty good. Image save. Save the texture. The pans are also good, but we have here some areas, and we will go later into that with the smear tool and stuff. But for now, let's try to cover as much as possible of the texture. So I think now we can do the feet, the hands. So Alt H, give it a look. Pretty good. Let's do the hands and the arms. Oh, you know what? The socks are pretty easy to squeezy, so L and texture paint, and to get the side view we should untoggle the mirroring, and let's get the part of his socks as huge as possible. And yeah, basically it's one color, so just rotate it, scale it up. Shoes are a bit more complicated because shoes have details, but overall nobody will look at the details of your shoes, except you get some really good shoe game going on. So, okay, that's the socks. Socks are done. Back into the UV editing. Alt H. Give it a look. Let's give it a look without the... Yep. And here we have to repaint some areas. But later to that, let's hit the L button, select all those parts, H to hide. Let's give it a try and try to texture everything at once. The hand and the arm. So texture painting, and let's go up here in the active tool, scroll down, image aspect, reset image aspect. And now the different perspectives of his arms are coming very handy. Just a little joke. Just paint over that bad boy to get that skin color. change it to the other side. And I think his tattoos we have to paint in. Okay. Just let's zoom in. Yeah, let's keep by now. Let's keep it like that. Let's attack just the hand. Selected. Hit I mean L. Let's hit A to select only the hand. Go in here and hit period. Or not. Let's go to the side view, scale up his hand. Nice, good, very good. So let's change our reference image to the back view, and we have here the back view. Yeah, pretty forgiving. Looks pretty good. Nice. Very fast. Image, save. And let's hit Alt H. And let's select everything. Display the mirrored version, go into the texturing. And yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good. I think we can get rid of our stencil brush. So down here, texture properties, hit X to get rid of the stencil, as you can see. And now here, active tools, texture, change back to tiled. Also the angle to 0. Now we have again a simple brush. So give the image a save, and now I would go into the texture folder and make a backup copy of the texture like that, because if we now fuck something up, we have a backup, or we mispress something. I like to go the safe route. Safety first applies for nearly everything in life. So, and now we can go into the detail of the body parts. And we can overpaint like this weird seaming with the soften tool. Let's get the strength down, get the size down to 20. Let's get rid of that. Or maybe let's make it a bit stronger. Let's just paint across. And also we can untoggle the overlays. Yeah, basically that way we can fix up some areas if we're not happy. And wait, the pants, yeah, exactly. So let's drag this out, zoom a bit into the pants area, and let's take the smear tool, or the pencil to the draw tool first. Hit the color, and select a mid-tone point. Something like this. Scale it down, 5, maybe 3. Strength a bit down, and let's just paint over those areas. Select here a mid-tone, paint over this dark area here. So, and now we can use the smear tool to fade everything into each other. As you can see, stroke along. Some short strokes, some long strokes. And also we have the same situation up here. Let's focus on this point. Up and down and up and down. But here you have to be careful to not paint into the socks or the shoes. Let's give it a look up here. This should be this area. This area here is this area. Up, down and up and down to get rid of it. Here's a black area. There's still a black area left. This here. I think this is here. Okay, give it a save. And yeah, I think we fixed 99% of the situation. I think we can continue with the line work, and or maybe here down, still in this smearing tool, up and down and up and down. And also here. And we have here some black areas. Just drag it out, draw it out. And this is the sleeve area. Just paint it out. Image save. And Yeah, now let's continue to the lining to create some lines. But for now, let's save the whole situation and make a backup of your texture. Let's go back into our texture folder. This is the current situation. We fixed up a lot of stuff. Copy. And yes, I want to replace it. So now I can't fuck it up. And yeah, let's continue with the lining. And for the lining, I would say let's paint on the model itself or not. I think the only thing with the lining that's kind of weird currently is here the sleeve. I mean the collar. Is it this area here? We need to make clear lines, and down here in the pants area the rest is pretty solid. Sometimes I have to redraw the shadows of the fingers, but they are also pretty solid. So okay, let's start here. It's more noticeable. Okay, and let's, for example, take this dark brownish here, make it a bit darker, go down with the strength and also with the radius, something like 1. And very carefully create a line. This should simulate the shadow. Okay. Now let's blend it together. Take this soften tool and carefully try to fade it into each other. The skin tone into the shadow, and here the shirt into the shadow. So it's not that harsh. We can increase the size a bit. And I think the smear tool would be a better option. To blend it. Okay, and we need the soften tool. Take something like 20. Let's paint here the transition. And let's go back to the smear tool. And we have here, wait, let's go down again to 2. Here's a very dark area here in the back. Let's get rid of that. But also this is a very heavy point. Take this dark skin tone, strength, pull it all the way down. Let's create a shadow so we can place our head. smear it. Save image. I think we still have to bring back some sharpness. So let's drag it in here. Let's take the skin tone. And maybe let's try to paint onto the body itself. I kinda don't like that it's so rounded. How about we go back to the stencil? Just set up the stencil very quick to get this area right. Open, or yeah, I have it already in the browser. It's the front view. Up here, texture, stencil, image aspect, and let's scale it down. I try to line it up as good as I can. And let's go back into the pure white. Increase the radius and the strength. And let's get back some of that. Wait. Let's rotate it a bit. Okay, that's way better. That's way better. So let's get rid again of our stencil, hit X, and let's change this back to tiled. And I wanna get the transition here. Now we have a more sharper transition. Let's give it a save. And we are very far, and I think maybe here a better transition would be interesting. But I think not necessary. But let's just do it. Let's take a very dark color to paint in a shadow. I think like black, and go with 2 or something, you know, 1. And let's just try to give it a edge shadow. Take your time to get it right. It's not a very sharp line, but we will fade it out. Smear tool and just smear it down.
Just a few pixels. Increase it to 5. And now we can go in with the soften tool, but with maybe 3 or something, and just soften out the edge. And 20. Looks pretty good. So maybe here with the pants we need a more softer transition. And maybe bring the belt a bit forward. Take the drawing tool. Take the midtone, I think it's this here. Decrease the size by 1. Make it a bit brighter. And strength to around 5 or something. Let's zoom in. Exactly. Yeah, and one, let's go with white. To give it a very light high point. Maybe even lighter. Let's go down with the strength. Nice. Give it a save. Pretty good. This looks kind of weird. Image save. And yeah, I mean, basically now you can also paint some highlighting on the pants if you want, or just keep it like that. And I think what would look pretty cool would be the seam here. We can amplify the seam. So let's go back. We also want to keep it way down. Drop it tool and try to get that color. It's in gray. It's in very light gray. Something like this. Keep the strength down. Radius to 1. And wait, let's give it a look. Okay, this is the line. And I wanna be as steady as I can. So I need the, oh, it's here, middle mouse click, stroke, stabilized. We have here the seam. Maybe let's keep it even more down to something like 0.18. And here's also in seam. Maybe it's a bit too pregnante. We could just take the 5 radius soften tool, pull it in strength down, and just tap it. Just tap it. Blend it more in. Also notice the crotch area looks kind of weird. Increased it by 20. Or take the smear tool. And here we can it's good enough. That can take quite some while until I'm satisfied with that situation, so I will keep it like that. It's good enough. So you can get really lost in the details of texture, patterns and stuff like that. So yeah, also here it's a bit brighter and stuff. We can also adjust that, but not now. The tutorial is taking too long already. So now, last thing, let's go back into the layout, change to material preview, and let's get rid of the wireframe. And let's click the character, right click and shade smooth. That would also change a lot. And yeah, and now we just have to take the head of the previous tutorial, or you have other head, and put it in its place. Just like that. And now you can basically still adjust the coloring of the skin and stuff, and no, it's just a back and forth of scaling. So let's compare it to the reference image. So well, and that's how you create yourself or any person based on reference images in PS1 style. And as you noticed, you can really go in depth with the texturing and the modeling. You can amplify elements. If you don't have enough time, you can save a lot of time on certain parts. Or if you want to really take the time and go into the detail and really, I don't know, have a one-to-one translation of the character, yeah, you can get very lost in it. But I think you got the basics figured out. You know what to do. You know what to do to get to your result with this tutorial and the last one. And yeah, and I think with this basic knowledge and understanding of the PS1 style and PS1 low poly modeling and character reference based modeling and texturing, you get very far. So I really hope you got something out of this tutorial. Thank you if you made it that far in this journey and you reached this point. I'm very proud of you. If you continued through the tutorial or the tutorials, congratulations. And yeah, if you want to see more videos like this or shorter videos like this, consider subscribing to the channel and leave a like. If you have any questions about the whole situations, leave them in the comments below. And if you want to help out the channel big time, consider becoming a Patreon, like those lovely people. Davey, Ainujali, VZX, Toady McToadface, Tomfoolery, Cupcut, Birdhouse, Alex Cochain, Stephen Arindando, Tom Videogree, UV, Kelly Moore, and Yoshio. So, thank you for watching and proud of you. See you in the next one. Bye.